I have to sound like a vampire. Welcome, my friends, to today's story time. Now, stories are interesting things. If you study stories from Australia, Aboriginal people stories, oral traditions, some of them go back thousands of years. They go back all the way to that period of time when the first Australian Aboriginal person stepped foot onto Australia. They talk about these great lizards that used to eat people, and they were there. They are now gone. These lizards were big enough to drag people into the bush and eat them. They were hunted to extinction. They were also burned to extinction. They would just light grass on fire, and it would cook them. But those stories go all the way back. Stories of the Aboriginal people of Australia are very complex. You almost have to memorize them verbatim to get the meaning out of them, the color, the beauty out of them, because they are complicated. They're very mystical. I could easily slip into just talking about Aboriginal stories. How they put equal credence as far as reality upon dream time as they do waking time. How their stories, I guess I am doing exactly that. How their stories and songs are maps. Where is that pocket of water 100 miles away? Well, listen to the story, listen to the song, and you will know how to find that water. Now, I concentrate more on Native American stories, and I like them because some of them are just raunchy, dirty jokes. Yeah, I mean, people are people, and I've got a book of those. I wound up going into the nature center one day, and there was this woman sitting at my desk in the office, where it says private office, chuckling to herself, saying, I need to get this book. She had found my book of Native American raunchy stories, and she just loved it. She was like a literature professor at U of M. But to get back on track here, the stories can be, on the surface, very disjointed, but have very good messages in them that you can think about them, come up with a whole lot of meanings. And this one is a perfect example. It's a story about Turtle and the Beaver. And it mostly takes place during, say, the warmer period of time called the spring. And seems kind of, why am I telling a springtime story when it's 5 degrees in northern Michigan in February? Well, I'm telling a springtime turtles and beaver story exactly because it's 5 degrees in northern Michigan and it's way too cold, winter stormy in southern Texas. And I'm going to leave it up to you how this story relates to these things and how it has a powerful message, how we can be helped through understanding a story. Well, the turtle lived in this pond his entire life. His lineage, his parents, his grandparents, his great-great-grandparents all lived in that pond. And so it was a very personal place to them. It was their territory. Well, it came about that time of year, the fall, the chill is in the air. The leaves are turning color and then falling off the trees. The turtle knew it was time for him to swim to the bottom of that pond and sleep through the winter, to make it through that hostile period of time. Well, it happened. The snow fell and the ice rained down, and the other animals that weren't hiding in the bottom of the pond, just saying, heck with it, I'm just going to sleep through it. We're struggling with survival. On a beautiful sunny winter day, there are 1,000 little voices struggling just to live that we are not aware of. Well, winter passed and then spring started to bloom. And at the bottom of the pond, the turtle began to stir, as turtles do. Well, the turtle dug himself out from that mud, swam to the surface, looking forward to another beautiful year. But when the turtle arrived at the surface of the water and looked around, he knew that there was something that was really off. His small, beautiful pond that he had known so well, every tree, every root mass, every little lagoon, it changed. It now is expansive. It's huge. And where the stream exited the pond was now a big old pile of sticks and logs that was stopping the water from leaving. Well, as he's kind of scooting along the surface, he looks over and there's this big brown animal just on a beeline coming right for him. Big yellow powerful teeth and a flat tail. Well, this animal, just before he reached the turtle, wanted to impress him with its power, slap that big tail on the water. I'm not good at making beaver sounds. Said to the turtle, "What are you doing in my pond?" Well, the turtle just was baffled. It's his pond, and he told the beaver that. "Sir, what do you mean this is your pond? This has been my pond and my family's pond for generations. You are not supposed to be here. You are a interloper. You are an outlander." To quote one of the best movies ever made, Children of the Corn, which it applies today, as well as the turtle sleeping through that winter. Said, "You're going to have to leave." And the turtle, and the beaver replied to the turtle, reported to the turtle, I'm going to use a different word here, "Get out. This isn't your pond anymore. It's my pond. I took it over. I created a bigger world. You're going to have to leave." Well, the turtle and the beaver went back and forth for a bit. Then they decided, we're going to do something about this. Both of them. We're going to do something about this. We're going to have a contest. And the turtle said, "I'm going to fight you for this pond." And the beaver just kind of laughed. He was much bigger than the turtle, and told the turtle, "Well, I'm going to have my cousins help. And with our massive size comparative and our giant sharp teeth, we're going to cut you to ribbons, little turtle." And the turtle thought about that and decided that's not a very good idea. That's a bad contest. And so he thought about it. Turtle's very clever. Turtles are actually pretty intelligent animals. Came up with another contest. He goes, "Beaver, how about a race? I will race you across the pond from that bank to that bank. And whoever wins gets to keep the pond." And the beaver thought, well, that's a funny contest, because he could see how much faster he is just in that little time of acquainting themselves with each other than the turtle was. There's no way that the turtle can win. So he said, "Yeah, okay, fine. Let's race. Whoever wins gets the pond. Let's have at it." And so they went off to one side of the pond, arrived at the bank. And the beaver, being the beaver and overconfident, of course, there's no way this turtle can beat me in a race, said, "Why don't you just tell us when to go?" So the turtle prepared himself and started the whole, "On your mark, get set, go." But right when he said go, he kind of slid over a little bit because they were close, and kind of bit down on that beaver's tail. Enough to hold fast, not hold enough to let the beaver know he was there. Beaver just started rocketing across that pond. Beavers are fast. Above water, below water, anything. They're fast animals. They're just zooming across this very enlarged pond. It was big. Turtle just kind of hanging on, drifting his way across in the wake of the beaver. But what happened when they neared the edge, as the beaver is intent on just blowing that turtle out of the water, was that turtle clamped down on that beaver's tail enough to get a reaction, to get that tail to flip up and then throw that turtle over the beaver's, unbeknownst to him because he's intent on swimming fast, over his head onto that bank. Well, the beaver arrived at the bank after the turtle. Surprised, very surprised. But a beaver of his word. Told the turtle, "I have no idea how you did it. I have no idea how you beat me across this pond, but we made an agreement and I'm going to stick to it. Part of that was also that the beaver repaired the damage in the turtle's eyes to the pond that the beaver had caused. He removed the dam that blocked the outflow of the pond so the pond could return to its normal size, and left and didn't come back. That's the way it was. Now you might just get a little entertained by the story, but there's something to think about there. There's some things to think about there. There's many things to think about there. How you apply it to your own life is personal. Anyway, that is the last of my firewood. And you might say I should have firewood gathered here, but part of the enjoyment of teepeeing on a cold day, whether or not it's 5 degrees or 10 below, which it gets here, is getting out and gathering the firewood that I'm going to use, because the fire is much more satisfying if you have to work for it. Thank you for listening to the story.